everybody, this is Teri from Sweet Pea Papers, the Sweet Pea Papers Facebook group, the Junk Journal Tutorials and More Facebook group, and the Junk Journal and Paper Crafts Facebook group. Don't forget that you can sign up with the Sweet Pea Papers YouTube membership. It's $1.99 a month, and you get 25% off in the Ko-fi shop. And we're also going to try to have some lives that you will only be able to access the recordings of. Everyone else will have to be there live. Today, this is video 2 in our Herbarium series. These papers are by Paperomia Digital Shop. And I love these papers. So today we've inked and stenciled off in your spare time. And now we're going to try and put some of this together. Some of it we have to paper first before we can glue things together. And I don't think we're going to have enough time. We're going to put our magnets in to do everything all in this video. Let me fix this bracelet. They have that little slidey thing, and if it comes undone, you know. I'll put the closures up there for right now. I love these bracelets. They don't get in my way, but for some reason, but sometimes they tap on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this on the front. Oh my gosh, I didn't ink it. What in the world was I thinking? I used this small brush to do the stenciling. I like the small-headed brushes. The brush is more firm. I do not like the big-headed brushes. They are squishy. And remember, we used gathered twigs. I spent time inking the edges and stenciling all the way around. My voice is kind of weird today, so just ignore it. I used this big stencil, this big tall stencil, because I could stencil the edge without, you know, doing one of these. I found this dried, it is a weed, it's not an herb, but it looks pretty cool. So I'm going to try to glue that down and include it on our cover, which you'll see it when you open the last bit. Okay, it kind of comes apart, but I love these things. You know, actually, we won't do that right now. We don't want to, you know, work it and have the bump the whole time. We can put it on afterwards. So I'll move it out of the way. Some places I stenciled the whole thing. I had to stencil this far back because we're going to use this as a pocket here. And I didn't want a paper underneath, you know, and lose most of the paper. So what I did is I went ahead and stenciled all the way over to here. You can see there's a little line there where I made up my mind, but oh well. Let me ink this real quick. I can't believe I didn't ink that because it's the only paper we've got on there so far. I guess that's why I forgot. And there's a little something right there. A little something something. Looks like it might be a tear. It's a cut with my scissors. I had to get that little white part, the core of the paper, covered up. You can keep going with a little bitty cut or tear. You can put glue between the two pieces of paper and glue them together, let it dry, ink the heck out of it, and a lot of times you can get away with it. So we're not going to have to ink the back side of this side because we're going to be gluing it down. Okay. This is going to be where we put our eyelet. And then at the end, we'll do that at the end. And at the very end, we'll put our tie through that for our wraparound. Okay. So we do need to do the front of this and the back on this, just this part. And since we're not going to, I'm going to show you all the pages as well. I mean, the construction, and we're going to do as much as we can. I've added 2 pages in an envelope. They happen to have a big, long, brown envelope, construction paper envelope, cardstock envelope. And so we're going to use that in the center. I thought it would be fun. It was not fun to try to ink it, that's for sure. It's a good thing I wasn't trying to ink it with Vintage Photo. Yeah, there's a tear right there. So I'm going to put the white part beneath, and then I'm going to ink it. Yeah, see, it only showed a little bit. I don't want to print this out and trim it again. Goodness. It must have been... I'm going to ink this really well because my curve cutting apparently wasn't that great. I may have to make another one before the next video. I was going to glue it on in this video if we had time, but I may wait and print it out again. Then I'll ink it again, obviously, if I do that. Not real wild about the tear, which I can fix like that, but I'm not real wild about the way I cut this, and you know what I mean, and cut that trim off. Looks like there's another tear here where it folded, or it folds. So I'm going to ink it so you can see what it's going to look like, but I'm definitely going to print it again. I must have got carried away with going like this on the back side where I've bone folded it. So you might want to wait until after you've inked on the creases on one of these until you've inked it to make the crease super, what do you want to call it? Sharp. Yeah, I think I could have gotten away with it everywhere except for right across the top right here. I could maybe... Since I need to cover up the tear, I could ink this a little bit more and get away with that, but I've got two tears, so I'm going to print it out and cut it again. But I just wanted to show you, you just take this and you put a little drop of glue right in between, and I mean just a little drop, and then you stick it together with the white side not showing. And then you hold it down with your finger, and then you ink it. And then if it's not too big, you can get away with it. This is awfully light colored right here, so when I ink it, it kind of shows. So we're not going to use this one. This is not up to snuff as far as I'm concerned. You don't really see this tear at all. This one right here bothers me, and I don't like the way I cut the trim. So I'm going to set this aside to print it again. So we won't have to do that top one. I'm going to move the stencil out of the way as well, but I'm going to set it to the side in case I need to stencil again. We're going to have to ink and glue this on before we attach this. But I just don't want to forget, so I'm going to ink it now. And then we're going to do a quick flip through before we glue anything together so I can show you the stenciling. What in the world? Oh, it's from that plant. I'm going to spray it, I think. I think I'm going to take it outside and spray it with my triple thick clear gloss, which will make it shiny, and I know, and I don't really want it shiny, but I don't have any triple thick or any kind of matte spray. I don't think. I have one other can of clear spray. I just lay it down on my porch and spray it. I do that with my decoupage as well. It looks really nice on decoupage, especially napkin decoupage. You know, which is pretty delicate once, even after you Mod Podge it. It's kind of brown on the corners down here, so I don't really have to do it that much in this here, but I think I'm going to like to do the corners in and have a little ink on them. Man, I'm really sweating while I turn the fan off. Wow. Fan was too loud, I thought, to record. I'm feeling kind of stinky, actually. Okay, so that's going to go there. And we're going to put it back far enough. We're going to see the border on here, and then we'll see the border on here, okay, to carry it down when I paper this. And then remember, we've got this that opens. We're going to glue it on by the gusset. Then this is going to open this way. We're going to have our plant go up that way, okay? So we can't really do that until we glue the paper down. I want to show you through it first before we do that. And we need to do magnets on here as well, okay? So it flips open. And you've got the brown envelope. It's going to go on like this with the open side up, right? And I could have tried to stencil in there, but it, I don't want to pull it away with the glue down here. So I just inked everything around, even with the, and I stenciled around the front, and I covered the whole opening so I don't have to put paper inside there. I used this stencil because I thought it looked like tree bark this way, when you do it this way. And with our natural, there's a little T on there. So it must mean I got it from Temu, probably in a pack of 10. So don't ask me, what, you know, other than Temu, where I got it. So that's that. That's what I used. Oopsie, I'm making a big mess above. Well, we might use some of this cheesecloth, and I've got a big pile of strings from pulling, you know, the cheesecloth, and we might use some of that somewhere. Probably not to attach anything. I find that attaches kind of loose. So what we're going to do on this particular piece, we're going to glue it along here so you still see the stencil. And then it's going to open this way. And I still, it looks like, need to stencil even more on there. It doesn't take the stencil very well. If I had been using vintage photo, you'd have never seen it. Okay. But we have to paper this before we put this on, because we're going to put this on as a tuck. Then it'll flip like, and we'll paper this, and then it'll flip like this. And then we'll put a card in here, and we, I may stencil this so that it's all stencil and not paper that. Okay, so I may go back and do that before we glue everything in. I could do it even after we glue it in if I decide the way it looks, I would like it to look different. Where's that little pile of strings? There it is. I'm not normally a string collector. I've been doing some tutorials by Debbie at Ink and Page, and she's been, her videos, she uses a lot of clusters and strings and things, and I've been trying to mellow out a little bit. This 8 I drew on a little too dark. I stenciled this whole pocket. It's going to be a pocket. There'll be pockets on top of it or something, and I'll know it's number 8. I didn't stencil the back. It's going to glue on by the gusset, and what that means is that this has to be papered first before we glue it on. So you see, it's going to be like a process. And then we glue this pocket down. Then this flat goes like this, and we have to put our magnets on, right? So it goes snap, and it's real nice. And you'll see the tab here. You know what I'm going to need to do? I'm going to need to stencil farther in because we're gluing over this part. we're going to see this side. Where's my stencil? Here it is. Whoopsie. Got caught in my mesh stuff. So let's put it down. Let's try to avoid the flat parts on the edge. And we'll stencil this in farther. I didn't even notice that at first. I try to go in circles. It tends to go down better, and you want to use the middle of the brush because that's the part that's actually touching the ink when you ink it up. So I'm just going to go in way far. We won't need it in that far. All right, that looks all right. Because you're not going to see this edge. All you're going to see is this edge. Okay. And then, like I said, we have to put our magnets in. That's why I got the box out, so I wouldn't forget. Because I do not like them to flop around. It's one of my things that makes me crazy. So this is going to be glued on like this. And then the whole thing, you have to flop them back. And then the whole thing folds like so. All right. Otherwise, it won't fold like that. You have to bend this page, which is fine if you want to do that. You're still going to have your ink, your stencil that you'll see. So you'll have to, again, stencil in farther if you want to do that. I've added 2 more pages, which is really 4 pages. And I scored these at a 1/2 inch. And I'm going to fold them back this way. So that's why I didn't stencil on this. I went ahead and stenciled on this because we're going to put them on like so. That way we've got shorter pages. I wanted a couple of shorter pages, okay, that open and close, but still, we can still close the folio after we glue them on. These are going to be glued on before we paper. Or should we do it after so we can see the whole thing? Because if we glue it on before we paper, after we paper, no. Before we paper, then we'll see this little line up here. Am I okay with that? I think I am. I think I want to... No, I inked these because we were going to see them. So that's what we're going to do on both sides of this gusset. With the gussets, I didn't ink them on purpose. I think we're going to put washi in there that matches our nature theme. I've got some. This is extra wide. It's too wide. But we'll get something that's darker and not quite as wide, about half this width. Okay, and this is about 1 inch, I believe. Or it is 1 inch. Yes, it's 1 inch. So those are 1 inch gussets. On this side, we're going to do the same thing. Now we're going to need magnets here to snap these shut. I did bring my phone in here just in case my friend texted that her message that she's ready to chat. That's why I'm recording the video at 20 after 5 in the morning. And then we'll do this like this after we've papered. See, there we go. And then this right here will be covered with paper. You don't see it very much at the top and the bottom, but you do see it on the back, right? All the way down. So I took this paper, which is one of our cutoffs, and I inked it on the front, and we're going to use it as a belly band that hides this, right? So we're going to put it right here. All right, everybody got everything? Okay, let me see how far we are in. Yeah, 20, that's what I thought. So we've got another 20 minutes. Let's see if we can, let me see what I want to do first. I think we need to paper this and glue this together so everything's not falling apart. Okay, so let's see. I've still got this envelope. I kind of like this paper right here. We are going to see more of the stenciling on our tab sections, and the tab section goes all the way up. So it's an inch here and a half an inch here. So, and then we're going to move it in a little bit. We're going to center it. And I think this page with this little border looks nice. Gosh, maybe I'll put this over that thing. I've got some dried flowers, regular flowers too, that we might put in. This kit does not come with any, let me drink some coffee. I need it. I drink iced coffee. I have to get some in my throat. I take medicine real early in the morning. That makes my mouth dry. Yeah, I think we'll put this here versus just flowers or, you know, a full pattern. Let me see, I've got this one too. Well, we're going to be gluing the pocket over it. Let's take a look at that. So this is going to be like this. Yeah, we'll still be able to see this. We can ink this and make a double flap, and then it'll open and see this. Let's do that. I like that better than the pocket. So let's stencil around the edge of this one. Where did I put my stencil? I just had it. Oh, come on. I know oh, there it is. Went under some music paper. Yeah, so let's stencil this around the edges and make a double flap out of it instead of, oh look, there's the eyelet that we're going to use on the cover stuck to the magnets. Yeah, and then we'll make the double flap. So I'm going to put the border in the stencil area or in the gusset area so I don't accidentally make a big wide spot in the only spot we're going to see. Okay. And then I'm going to slide it over this way and do this side. This border does, or this pattern doesn't really start until in here. So I slid that over. Let's make our tree. I really think this looks like tree bark when you put it up and down. And then we'll do the centers. This is not necessarily the only way you can do it. I should have closed this. I don't want to accidentally ink it. It's just the easiest way for this one because the stencil goes all the way across. On the front, I stenciled the whole thing. I'm not planning on putting paper on this section right here in the front. Okay, so we got that stenciled all the way around. So we can make it a flap. Then do we have to put that paper on first? Let's discuss this for a minute. We don't want to drag any of the manila folder over the top. I don't think we're going to have to paper it first. Wait a minute. That's the second one. Oh, that's the front. Right, because it goes back here. This is the one we would have to paper first. So this is going to glue on like this. But do we have to paper it first since we're going to use the 2 pockets or the 2 flaps? Where'd they go? Where did my flaps go? This goes like this. You don't want to make any paper extra short, so you have to look at it to see how you glue it together. So this is going to be glued like this, so we don't have to paper that first. But I do like this paper here. So I'm going to paper clip it here. So let's glue these 2 big sections together. I'm just going to glue on the gusset, and we only have to glue on one side. Okay. So close your flaps so that they are not open. And that's the side of the gusset that you're going to glue. All right. So let's get that together. Let's get our act together. You see, I'm just pulling these off. It's because I numbered them. And I can put them back on in the order that they need to go. And we're going to glue this part only to this part only. Okay, got it? You have to make sure they're even at the top and the bottom, and they're straight. And it is straight. I like to make sure these can open and close easily. That isn't exactly lining up on the top, but it is on the bottom, so you've got a little bit of difference between, yeah, 6 o'clock. That's probably my friend. That's okay. She can wait 10 minutes. Okay, make sure these pockets stay straight. Okay, then we've got this. We don't fold it there, we fold it here. This goes back this way. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, then we're going to glue these on after we paper them, so we haven't got that far. So really, and I'm going to do the envelope after. Remember, we do the paper because we want to glue it on like so. We're going to glue it on where the paper starts. So you're going to see some of our tree bark. Okay, so let's go ahead on the front. We'll get that paper glued on. I think I'm going to erase this because this is pretty close to the edge of the stenciling. We're going to paper this. This is actually page 5. Once you put this on, this is actually the front. I didn't take that off. I think you have to get them off really good on them in the little folders, or you can see them. You might even want to use this eraser. Save your eraser on your pencils. I love these. On a side note, who are they made by? Wow, I don't know. You can find them online easily. They turn this way and put your eraser in and out, right? My eraser's right at the end. I need to pull it out a little bit. That plastic spot stuff is not eraser. But the erasers are changeable. That's why I can pull it out a little bit. because they're pretty long. All right, I'll do it later. And then you click the bottom, which pushes the eraser a little bit, to let your lead out. Get your lead out. Okay. I start a project with my glue bottle full. This project's going to take some glue, that's for sure. Oh, wait a minute. Do I need any magnets? I think I do. That go under the paper, because I'm going to need magnet here, and I need to glue it to here. Well, that's no good. All right, let's put it on here. I want to leave this up a little bit. I want to be able to still see that word Herbarium, though, so maybe I should glue it closer to the bottom. Then we'll flip this over, and in order to have a magnet right there, we will need, on the underside, we'll need a magnet approximately here. Then we'll match the one in here up to this one that is under the paper. I put mine on with tape. It's quick, it's easy, and it holds it on because you turn around and put glue and paper right over it. This just keeps it from sliding under the paper. All right, so we've got our magnet on for our cover. Now we can put our paper on. Make sure there's enough room that your paper's not, you know, sticking out. Okay. A little bit back on there. I really like this page for the front. This one doesn't come with any label, you know, like Word, no labels. So I'm going to use the whale tail tabs and maybe cut the edges off a couple of them and use them as words. It's perfectly fine. You can do that if you wanna. Let me see now. And that covers the magnet, and the paper doesn't bulge out. Okay, so we've got that. Nature collects beautiful things. I like that. We'll see it because of the way we're going to glue this on. We're going to glue this on just by the gusset. And now that we have the paper down, we can do that. Both of these pages are going to lift up. We'll put our magnet on and then we'll cover it with paper. Or the pocket, whichever. Okay, we want to put this on. And we want to put it on all the way over here. I had to look at it and see how far it stuck out, because we don't want it sticking out over our tab. That doesn't really look right, does it? Did I glue this wrong? I might have. I think I did. Because I don't want that. This is too long out. I need to be able to fold this here. Oh, not that. This is fine. I need to undo this. See, this is the thing. You got to kind of look at everything when you're gluing them together. I'll take my glue eraser and get the glue off this gusset. This gusset is to glue on the front of this. That's why we have to put that paper on first. Please don't tear the folder. So, just a little bit. We're going to put washi over it anyway. This gets glued on this way so that this is the full width, right? So I glued it on the wrong spot. That's why we had to paper that first. I couldn't figure that out. I thought, why? Why? So I need to ink this now. Gotta love the end of August, huh? Allergies kicking in for the fall. Yeah, when your glue bundle's full, you don't want it to lay on its side, that's for sure. And I'm glad that I went with the gathered twigs once again because of the coloring on the backgrounds. The gathered twigs, to me, has a little bit of a gray in it, possibly a little bit of a green, a gray-green kind of a color. Reminds me of the forest. And this is a forest. And look, these are herbs you find growing in the woods, most cases, or along a roadside maybe. I know there's lilac in here, lilac, whichever. I grew up in Michigan, and we called them lilac bushes, so there we go. Midwestern accent, maybe. Depends on where you're from, probably is how you say it. So I'm not going to take my glue eraser and take that glue off during the video because there's no need. See, this is one of our backing papers as well that we'll have to use. I may have to print out more of the backing papers. We're going to be cutting the page papers in half in most cases. Yeah, in half. And using one half one place and one half the other place. Usually it's got the text about the herb on one side and the picture on the other. So we might want to keep that in mind. When we're putting the papers on, we might could pair them up. I'm not sure yet. We've got so many little flaps and things that we aren't going to kind of know for sure until we get into it. And I want this to be straight across the top. You can really tell on these because of the stenciling. So that's why I put those little blobs of glue on the corners, so I can slide it around easily. Okay, and then this closes all the way. This glues this way on here so that everything opens. Yes, okay. Sorry about that. So it does still glue here. It just glues on top of this with the gusset, with the center of the folder lining up with the center of the folder, not this edge. That slid forward a little bit. It's supposed to be up a little bit, but you can see that it slid forward a little bit. I don't think there's anything I can do about it now. Manila folders, the top layer will come off easily. That's why I kept saying, don't tear the manila folder. There. Now it looks right. Okay, that's the right way. Okay, then we need to put magnets on. We're not putting these on yet until we paper. Nice little paper clip on there. Oh, it was to hold the paper on the other side. This one goes this way. We need to glue our, this glue has got to come off. This is the glue that's got to come off. This is a glue eraser. Mine's pretty gnarly. I've had this for 6 years, and the end is barely, the corners are barely worn off. And like I said, you gotta be kind of careful on manila folder. The top layer, the cream colored layer, will come off. If you're not careful, then it won't look right. So we've got to get this glue off of here. Then in the next video, we will be able to start the rest of the construction and the papering. Put our pockets on and do all that stuff. I haven't inked anything because there's so much, and I didn't know exactly what we were going to use. So, I didn't ink it all just to not use it. You know what I mean? As I used to say when my daughter was a little jelly bean. You know what I mean, jelly bean? Her nickname was Sweet Pea. That's why my video channel and all that is Sweet Pea Papers. It doesn't say, in Facebook, it's Sweet Pea Papers Junk Journals, which I always forget to add on when I'm telling the name of the group. But if you put in Sweet Pea Papers, the right group will come up, I promise you. Okay. So there's that. So we'll do the magnets and all that. Yeah, that's fine. It cuts up this big page is what it does. It breaks it up. We'll do this rest of this tomorrow, the magnets. You see how this page ends up, and then you've got the green border all the way down. That looks nice. Okay. All right. I will see you guys in the next video. I usually publish on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So this is probably a Wednesday because it's video 2. And so after this, I will see you in video 3, which will be Friday. We're going to carry over, I believe, into September of 2026. And that's fine with me. This is a autumn kit. September is the beginning of August. September, October, November. Yeah, June, July, August is summer. So the end of August, beginning of September should be fine. I've got the weekend to film everything. Yay! And I've got a seminar that I'm going to do from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday on using Claude AI for writing my books and doing other jobs. And yeah, so I'm going to have to do the videos before 10 and then attend my online seminar. So we'll see. All I have to do is have Monday, Wednesday, Friday done, which is one more video, and then I've got another week technically. Okay, I will see you guys on Friday, and have a great day, and have a good weekend this weekend after Friday's video. Okay, thanks a lot, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.